Okay, so hello everyone. I hope everyone is fine. I'd like to thank everyone for your presence, and especially to our speaker, Pablo Hidalgo. Today we will have the webinar of Pharmacy Hour Project on the importance of volunteering in general and personal experience. Remember that during the webinar, a link of participation will be sent, and in a few days, the certificate will be sent to you all. And this webinar will be recorded, like this interview actually will be recorded and will be available on the IPSF Power YouTube in a few days, in case you want to watch again. If you have any question, send them via chat or open your microphone at the end of presentation. And our speaker today is Pablo Hidalgo Villegas. He's a pharmacy student from Costa Rica, Secretary of Paro 2021-2022, and Humanitarian Subcoordinator 2021 and 2022. And the phrase that he said about humanitarian pharmacy is work empowering local communities through health issues has been a dream for him. Thank you for your attention, and I pass the floor to our speaker.
Thank you, Ms. Gabriele. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share my experiences in the humanitarian field. And I'm looking forward to give to all the viewers the information that they might need to kind of see how the humanitarian field might work. But just like a heads up, is a very different field, in my belief. And I'm at the moment, I'm just a student that is trying to get into the pharmacy field, the humanitarian pharmacy field. And it's also very important to hear maybe the experience of people that are already or that have positions in the humanitarian pharmacy field. So yeah, looking forward to answer all the questions.
Thank you so much, Pablo. So we elaborate some questions. I hope it's helpful. So about humanitarian pharmacy in general and in a specific field and about this important, what do you think about that?
So the importance for me of the humanitarian pharmacy field resides maybe that is for the professional, that is a very new space that you can start working in. Is not a very developed area, I will say, in the pharmaceutical community. So professionally, I think that you can get a lot of social and realization of doing this kind of work. And obviously you have all of these maybe, I don't know, benefits or like improvements to other people, right? So you basically help somebody, maybe like patient to patient, or maybe just like with pharmaceutical interventions that are not patient to patient, maybe that are related more to the supply of the drugs or the medicines. But basically at the end, as the pharmacy field is that you are going to be helping someone, and that, in my opinion, gives me gratitude in life. So I think that it's kind of like a very good way of putting your social skills, your ability skills into practice and doing something that is actually helping somebody.
Yes, I agree with you. It's really grateful to help someone. And why did you choose IPSF Parliamentarian to be committee?
Okay, so for the reason that I choose start way back. It wasn't like um, a thing that the Pablo, I guess if Pablo posted, the humanitarian coordinator application, and I just apply. It started in my local community, in my local association here in Costa Rica. So when I was working at my local association, there was a field, like a job position that was open, that was offered to me, and it was the human rights representative. Was a new position that all local associations in my university had to have, uh, from the year, like that was maybe like 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago. So this position was offered to me, and in this human rights position, um, what we basically thrive, or we wanted to achieve, was equal representative and equal human rights, basically, to develop this kind of area inside our faculty. So with this position open, I started to kind of growing in the humanitarian field, and activities that we did, like in that human rights position, were debates, conferences about human rights topics like abortion, or we did like legal abortion or abortion in general. We did a lot of infographics that we spread into, like, in the Facebook page of the faculty, and we did activities as such. So in that moment, like, I started to see that I was very interested in the humanitarian field, and with the years of being inside of the of Paro and my local community, like FECOEF, I started doing works, and like that was basically helping kind of, or I was started to doing projects and start working in this kind of field that was basically always helping someone. And then later, when the Paro position was open, I immediately read it. I thought that I had like the skills that I needed to have like that position, and then I applied. But it wasn't like something that I at the moment I knew wanted. It was something that it was going building up from the scratch, and then at the end it culminated in this in the IPSF Pablo Humanitarian Subcommittee. Yes.
Thank you so much for your answer. I received one questions like, how did you start in IPSF, and did you have any position previous to the humanitarian ones?
Yeah, so basically what I was talking about, like I had these positions in my local community, right, in FECOEF, and also I have like inside of my neither of, like, at the moment I think that I just had like that one, and then I got into the humanitarian subcoordinator, but I had like doing some more like a social actions from my family, I would say. Like, that's like the background that I have. The activities that I do, like socially, and my family do, and then like the human rights position, and then I jump directly to the humanitarian subcommittee. Yes, that was kind of my experience.
FECOEF has like a department, like a humanitarian department, or you have a general department and you make many projects in different areas like farm education and humanitarian, public health? Because in FIBRAF we have some departments, but not so specific for like humanitarian, but we do some projects for humanitarian.
Yes, definitely. I think that is maybe an issue that it has to be that the IPCF has addressed, given a fully space just to one person in the humanitarian field, but that is growing over the years. But in local associations, I would say that there are not a lot of humanitarian positions. Maybe you have like public health kind of super coordinator or supervisor, maybe. But I mean, public health, it has like a lot of topics and a lot of different themes that you can touch in. And one of those can be humanitarian, but there's a lot of other topics that can be touched. So sometimes the humanitarian part is not addressed very well. But having these kind of spaces that IPSF provide us, like a fully position on the humanitarian field, is very helpful for achieving and growing in this area, I would say.
Thank you so much for your answer. And what was your subcommittee entry process like? Like you said about see some documents, like a call in IPSF's website, but how was the process like? Did you do some interview or just send the documents, or which kind of questions do you need answer for that?
Yeah, so to apply for the humanitarian field, what you basically have to do is in IPCF is that you have to be aware or like looking at the Facebook page, the call for the regional working group and the subcommittees, right? So then you can read the description of the humanitarian subcoordinator, and if you feel that your abilities are similar for um, your is my camera on? Can everybody hear me? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's working
Okay.
now. Yes, thank you.
Sorry. So as I was saying, then you read the description, like the task that the humanitarian subcoordinator have to do, then you apply. All the information is on the website, on the Facebook page. And also like the CP from your country can give you all of the information for you to apply to the humanitarian field. And then you do all of the application that it basically asks you what are your previous experiences in the humanitarian field, what are your previous experiences with IPCF, and you can put all of your information and all of the work that you have done in the humanitarian field there, and you are chosen in the regional assembly. And since I would say that since it's not a very popular maybe subcommittee, a lot of people do not apply. So I think that is like a great opportunity to encourage all of the people that wants to apply to the job to do it. Is a very kind of position that if you take it chill, the deliveries of the humanitarian portfolio will be chill. But if you can develop more, like if you put more effort into it, like the portfolio would be more full of more active, more full. So if you put a fully, like if you put a lot of effort into it, that will be shown, and is also like a position that you can kind of do activities with other regions and also with the public health um, portfolio. That is something that you can do activities with the public health and also with the other humanitarians subcommittees of the other regions of IPSF. So it definitely is a entry process that is very, very simple. And I would say that the payback, the give back, yes, is very, it's great, you know? So I encourage all of everybody to apply to the humanitarian position, yes.
Yes, guys, it's really important you all apply to all position, humanitarian position, in pharmacy education, professional development, and the other original positions too, and public health too. So yes, I agree with you. It's really important. We have many countries, many MOs working on that departments. So how was your relationship with the RPO, the other departments, and the regional working group? Was it encouraging to work with them?
I would say that, so just so everybody can understand my answer, the 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 humanitarian subcommittee, as the word says, is a subcommittee in the committee of Gabriele, can you help me? It's like the RPO, right? Um,
Yes, I'm
yes.
the RPO. So yeah, I I think the relation is really good with the RPO, the other departments, and the regional working group. In my case, we have many WhatsApp groups, so it's helpful in the talking with them or schedule one meeting. So you have many ways to talk with your team, with the other sub coordinators. For example, the RPO speak a lot with the RMPO because we planning the projects and the RPO do the arts and the certificates. So yeah, I think the WhatsApp groups help too much in the meetings too. So in my case, we use the Google Agenda. So for
Mhm.
me, yeah, it's encouraging.
Yes, but what I wanted to say was that yes, like the humanitarian position is inside of the RPO, and the RPO is in charge of four portfolios. That is the humanitarian, the education, pharmacy, the professional development, and the public health portfolio. And so as you can see, like the RPO is really, really busy. And so I think that if you want to start in IPCF and this kind of more of a kind of doing projects in IPCF, the some of those four portfolios are definitely the choice. And then you can move on to the RPO, that it would be like the best idea. And the communication between all four portfolios is very, very important, and is always like is always happening at all moments. And most important, the public health portfolio is always helping humanitarian portfolio, and humanitarian portfolio is always helping public health with the supervision of the RPO. So is key. The communication is key inside of these portfolios. And in general, as Gabriele said, RPO is always talking with the RMPO, that are the team that is helping with all the infographics that you want to post in your social media. They are the ones that do all of the publication in Facebook, Instagram. So you, in a position of humanitarian or public health, you always are, you can always be doing and writing all of these publications. And though the RMPO portfolio are the ones that are in charge of doing it beautiful, so you can post it in Facebook. So communication is key between those two positions in general. And I would say that when you want to transmit a message, for example, through Facebook, the RMPO team always have like really good ideas. Like they can help you doing a video. They can help you doing like infographic. They can help you doing maybe like more like an activity inside of Facebook. You know, like post a story and then mention someone or something like that. So yeah, I would say like communication is key and is always has to be happening at all time, all the moments. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So it's a lot of work, but it's really important. It's really grateful. It's funny to work on that. So yeah.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
what was most challenge for you on joining the subcommittee and during your mandate?
The most challenging, what specifically?
Like with like the challenge or the difficulties that you have, and you need to think about one solution in your mandate or during your time in the subcommittee or before entry into.
Yes, so I would say that the most challenging experience is to do activities that you can uh, get like that all Paro countries get involved, because since we are in very different countries and someone speak English, someone speaks Spanish, other people speak Portuguese and French, you have to do activities that you can involve everyone. And since we're in different countries, that sometimes can be challenging. Um, and humanitarian, the difference maybe with other kind of portfolios is that humanitarian usually have to have an impact in communities physically. It has to have like more like a visual representation of what is happening, right? Sure, you can write policy about it, like humanitarian policy, but mainly all the activities or the objective that we want to do is to really help somebody like physically, right? Somehow. So that is very challenging because we're in different countries, we speak different languages. And so having to show that in some sort of way is kind of challenging. So creating activities that can involve everyone in the region is very interesting thing to do while you are in the job, you know?
Do you think the language can be a barrier for being in the department or being part of regional working group?
I couldn't hear you, sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, great. Sorry for that. I'm asking if you think the language can be a barrier for entering the subcommittee or not,
No,
or how to solution that.
I don't think that, but to enter the portfolio to apply to the job, the being bilingual, obviously, or if you can speak like whatever languages you can, is very helpful because it will be more easier to get some things done. But I don't think that is a barrier, and you should not like you should not apply if you think that is like something, like if you know just one language, I encourage you to apply. you know um it's all like, if you just speak one language, that's always there's somehow we can communicate. um so that is definitely not something that you have to worry about. And in general, the regional working group is very inclusive. So we are always trying to help those that have more that maybe they cannot speak as easily as some other people. But if you know one language, two languages, three languages, or more, apply for the position. I really encourage you because it's very gratifying.
Yes, I agree with you. I think the language is not to be here. So you just need like you just being need be encouraged, like be motivated for that and do your responsibilities. So yeah, I don't think it's a barrier. And what was your most outstanding humanitarian activity and why? Or the
Okay.
activity that you most like?
Yes, that's a very really good question, I would say, because giving up, following the things that I just said, that is sometimes it's very difficult to do activities, humanitarian activities in this position. I would say that the most beautiful activity that we have was what we basically did, that it was a very popular, I would say a very popular information that was posted in Facebook and Instagram, was an activity that we basically wrote to different humanitarian pharmacists. So we basically wrote to a Canadian pharmacist, a Brazilian pharmacist, Argentinian pharmacist, and a French Guiana pharmacist. I believe that the Canadian, I don't recall at the moment what the Canadian pharmacist did. I do recall that the Argentinian pharmacist work in community pharmacy, but in Argentina, what they have is called an organization that is called Farmacéuticos Sin Fronteras, like pharmaceuticals without borders, without frontiers. And he was the president at the moment, and I think that he still is the president of Farmacéuticos Sin Fronteras. The French Guiana pharmacist was working with the Red Cross in his country, and the Brazilian pharmacist, I don't remember at the moment where he worked, but I know that he had missions in Iran and Iraq. So it's very, very interesting. As you can see, it's a field that is very open. And I would say that being in this position, in the humanitarian position, it opens a lot of doors for you to know and see like the humanitarian field. But answering your question, what we did with those four, it was like we asked them questions of their background and what they did and what were like their objectives in the humanitarian field, and then we recollect all that information and we posted it on Facebook, and it was a very it was more like a motivational kind of humanitarian experience, so everybody could learn what is and what things do a humanitarian pharmacist. So I think that that gave a lot of exposure to the field that is not very well known in the Americas, I would say. That is something that we can still start working more.
Thank you so much for your answer, Pablo. You said about the humanitarian policy, and how did you elaborate the humanitarian policy, and did you invite other departments beside Paro as the global team to work on that?
I did no, I didn't do like activities that we like connect different regions. We did, like when I was in the position, we didn't do it, but I know like the general IPSF humanitarian coordinator is in charge of a lot of activities that are in this kind of way, more like connecting different regions, and also like having like doing activities that are more worldwide. So I think that if you apply first, maybe for the humanitarian sub-coordinator in your region, and you feel very confident, you can apply for being the humanitarian IPSF coordinator. Then I think that is a great position.
Thank you so much for your answer. Did the pandemic affect your mandate? If so, how did you solve it and not get discouraged?
What can you repeat, please?
Did the pandemic affect your mandate? If so,
Oh,
how did you solve it and not discourage it? Like the pandemic affects your mandate?
no, I don't
Or
think
it's
that
okay?
it was okay. I think that the pandemic didn't hit later. So I was like we didn't have and the pandemic wasn't an issue, I would say.
Is it possible to start a career as a humanitarian pharmacy from graduation? If so, do you know how?
I would say that since it's a very recent field, is definitely maybe that we have to work on it to maybe get a position that you are paid, because yes, a humanitarian pharmacist can get paid. Because sometimes we think that since it's humanitarian and it's kind of like volunteer work, you don't get paid. But yes, like there are positions of humanitarian pharmacists that you get paid. So what I have listened and seen interviews, listening to interviews, and searching maybe for people that work as humanitarian pharmacists is that what you have to do is maybe start locally, start working with your community, start searching for volunteer works, start searching for organizations that do volunteer works. And at the beginning, I would say that you have to volunteer, you have to maybe have this kind of background, and to one moment in life, you can maybe apply for a job. and actually get hired and paid for this field. So I would say that as all jobs, you have to have maybe a background, start doing maybe local things. But I think that if you put your mind into it, you can at one moment you can get a job in the humanitarian field. Yes, for sure. Maybe it's not as easy as it goes because, as I said, it's not a very popular kind of job, uh, and it's very specific for um, for the things in some region, for the necessities of a region. Maybe if you go, I don't know, for example, here in Costa Rica, um, if you have indigenous communities, um, maybe they don't have like a pharmacist. So you can see like the problematics in your local community and maybe start responding to that, helping in that spaces that are yet empty. And then maybe you can like create your own kind of space and bubble and start working from that, you know?
Yes, I think it's an important point you said about the salary for some humanitarian pharmacy. I know many guys didn't know about that. And I'm a humanitarian pharmacy too, but I'm a volunteer.
Yes.
So yeah, it's really different. Like the the time you dedicate for that is different. The country can be different too. So it's important to work like a volunteer, and then maybe you have a work on that like a job.
Yes, for sure. And I think that is very, as I said, is very depending on the country and the necessity of the region. Because, for example, I would say that I would say like I'm not very sure of the situation in the Middle East, but I do know that are a lot of refugees from the Middle East to more European countries, right? And we don't have like that influence here in the Paro region, like in the Americas. There are not a lot of refugees, I would say, in Latin America. So the field, it hasn't opened because the demand doesn't exist. But for example, something that do exist here well, I think that in Latin America is, for example, the Red Cross, and also we have a lot of natural disasters. And sometimes like the pharmacists can help in that area. We have a lot of floods, we have a lot of storms, we have a lot of different climates that sometimes can give us a surprise. So like definitely resolving natural disaster, or like um, the natural disaster issue can be a place where a pharmacist can get in and start working as a humanitarian in that area.
Yes, I agree with you. And what programs or institutions can students look to become a humanitarian pharmacist?
I would say that uh, as I think that I will repeat myself, but yes, start very locally. But are the famous ones, like the ones that maybe somebody eventually would want to work with, would be like the Red Cross, and you can do volunteer that. There are Medical Without Frontiers, that is worldwide organization that is very famous, And there is also Pharmacists Without Frontiers. Like there are two organizations, and you can get a job in both of them. A lot of positions are also given with OMS. The in English would be the health organization, but in Spanish, OMS, right? And like a lot of positions are given by OMS. And in the PARO region, it would be PAHO, like Pan American Health Organization. UNICEF is also like organization that have that you can search maybe for jobs as a humanitarian. And I would say that in general, there are a lot of organizations that can give or maybe provide this field, but saying again, is very specific into different things that you will be like. It's very specific. So I would say like you will also have to like search for all the time for these kind of options that are these pages are given, because it's very like sporadic. And also, for example, I know like in the Middle East, in Medical Without Frontiers and Pharmacists Without Frontiers, you get hired to do like a mission. You go on a mission, for example. So you go like 3 months, you have to go 3 months on Iraq. And that is like the job, 3 months, and that's it. And then you maybe wait a little bit more, so like another mission get out. So it's something that definitely you have to be looking everywhere, and and see if it's available international and also nationally in your country.
Yeah, I know the word doctors too because I'm a member. So this one is really great too. We do twice a month the project, and like for example in October in the last years we did like 5 actions. So it depends of the month or what is happening in the country or in the city. So yeah, it's locally it's better you find something to do in the humanitarian. I agree with you
Yes.
too. And I know Hottery in Hoteract too to do some one-time project. It's not so specific, but they do too. And the other questions, we have some questions yet. Um, how can we at IPSF collaborate in humanitarian actions? For example, you explained something about the infographics and some actions, you see some examples, but you know the others examples for that?
Yes, in IPSF, the biggest responsibility of the humanitarian pharmacist is the vampire cup. So for people that are listening and do not know what is the vampire cup, is an activity that the IPSF do. Actually, like it happened like 2 days ago, the 14th of June. That is the international date of blood donation. And the vampire cup, as the name says, is basically a cup that is given to a country that wins the more, if you get like more recollection of blood, right? Um, and the humanitarian, in the humanitarian field position, sorry, the coordinator has the responsibility to facilitate to all the countries all the information and details of the vampire cup. So that also can be like a way, that is also like a way that the IPSF collaborate with the humanitarian actions.
Thank you, Pablo. And what do you think about voluntary action as in the current war that is going on? And how could our humanitarian pharmacy collaborate on that?
Well, I think that is a very kind of interesting question, because like here in the Americas, like, or at least in my country, Costa Rica, well, basically, we don't see the the repercussions of the war that is going on. Um, not just like, for example, I would say like in Europe, and I think that are a lot of wars going on around the world. So it's very difficult, but because you are not like there, you are not physically present. But I think that uh, what you can do is also maybe kind of help with like the idea, that a humanitarian pharmacist could go there to help like physically, but also like changing this kind of idea of war that is not very like helpful, and also writing maybe positions paper. um, but yes, I would say that is quite tricky because we're not like there, but we can also like spread this message of peace, of helping other people. um, so yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Pablo. And have you ever left your country to do a volunteer work? If not, could you tell someone case?
Yes. So when I was in college, in high school, that was like in my first year of pharmacy. I haven't met IPCF at the moment, so I applied with another organization, and I went to Brazil. Um, I went to Brazil. I went to Santos, Brazil, that is nearby São Paulo, and I did 3 months volunteer there. I volunteer with it was basically like a household, or yes, like a place where people, because of different reasons, left their kids maybe like at 7 a.m., 8 p.m., and and their parents arrive like in the afternoon or in the night to get the kids. So the kids didn't sleep in this house. Um, but what basically did was activities with them. It was a very low income area, or the families that left their children there, maybe because they have to work 2 jobs, so they needed someone to care for their children. So we basically what did was activities, like daily activities, do some exercise. Maybe for the young ones, we play with them. um, that space was also financed by the government of Brazil. So they had like a lot of they had like things, they had like sewing machines so you can learn sewing. They had um equipment for, I think that some equipment for doing like judo, karate, something like that. So like we were always doing activities. We actually did we painted like the whole wall of the house. So I have like a lot of pictures painting the wall for the kids. So it was a very, very, very um it was an incredible experience. Yes.
Did you do this volunteer with IPSF or with other institution?
Yes, I did this before knowing IPSF. So yes, I did this with another institution. Um, but I think that in some sort of way, IPSF maybe could start doing this, because at some point, because it's very, very is an incredible experience, I would say. Yes.
Yeah, because I know we have the SEP, the student exchange program,
Yes.
but we have other areas like pharmacy community or industry or research or hospital, but I think it will be a good idea to do something about humanitarian. So yeah, I
Yes,
agree with you.
maybe like
And
maybe implementing a step with volunteers, with the Red Cross, for example. I think that the Red Cross is internationally, and they would happy to have some volunteers, I would say. So maybe it's just something that, for example, the student exchange officer, that is the one in charge of doing the SEP in your country, contact the Red Cross of the community of the country, and maybe start doing alliances. So some people maybe apply for these positions, because some people apply for community, they apply for industry, they apply for hospital. So why not people apply to a humanitarian space of like environment of work? So yes.
yes, that's why I asked these questions for you, because I really think about it like like saying something about that with the exco or the chairperson of SUP. So yeah. And how does a monetary pharmacy work in your country? And if you can please explain something about in the word true, or and give examples, please.
Yes. So as I said, at least in Costa Rica, there's not like in a specific place, right? I think that in general, like in all countries, it's not that I can say that I'm going to work in humanitarian pharmacy, um, because it's not like an industry that is physically, it's not a community pharmacist that is physically. So that depends actually on each job that you apply for. Maybe I don't have like at the moment any examples, I would say, but I think that depends specifically on the job that you apply for. Yes. And what I really want to like put out to everyone, to anyone that is hearing this, is that maybe you can search in your community for necessities, right? For example, here in Costa Rica, I'm quite sure, not like 100%, that the Red Cross here, um, like for example, the medicines and the drugs that the Red Cross have here in my country are given by local pharmacists. So when, for example, these kind of drugs are given to the Red Cross, they stop having kind of supervision. right? So I think that at the moment, there should be like a pharmacist involved in the quality and the supply machine and the uses of those drugs. So like I am looking and I'm searching for this necessity, and somehow you try to open that space for you, you know, maybe for example then in the future have like a pharmacist that is in charge of all the drugs in the Red Cross, for example, right? So you can search, see if there is a necessity, and then start open that space for a pharmacy. Start showing that a pharmacist is value in these kind of spaces because, well, as we all know, like drugs are not something that should be left hanging there, you know, as like maybe as a trouser, you know. So yes, I would say that.
Thank you, Pablo, for your answer. And has your university taught in you like any content to be a humanitarian pharmacist? If so, how was it? Or if not, do you believe it should be added?
Mhm. I do think that my university, I am in the University of Costa Rica, Faculty of Pharmacy. We have like, I would say like uh, 3 or 4 courses that are maybe in this area. Um, is not like they are given so you can get at the end working as a humanitarian pharmacist. Is more just so you can have like a broad spectrum of what health it is. For example, we have a course that is mandatory, that is public health. So, and I guess like every university have some sort of this kind of course. I think, I'm not quite sure, but the public health course has given me a lot of ideas on how we can impact, you know, like how a pharmacist can impact in public health, and then and for and then to the humanitarian field, you know. And also we have also like others courses that you can choose, like that are optionals, that are interventions in community pharmacist. So kind of the idea of that course that I took actually was to do an implementation with community pharmacists, uh, um, that are basically public health interventions, and so you can help at the end patients. And we so yes, I think that my university in specific do have some courses that can help you with becoming or having an idea of what humanitarian pharmacists can do. And also I would say that my university give a lot of lectures, um, and pay a lot of attention. They bring a lot of people from different countries to give you know, expositions to about this kind of area, because I went to maybe like 2 expositions on this area that were given by my university.
Yeah, in Brazil, I didn't know any university that have these objectives like specific for humanitarian, but we have some exchange, like not exchange, sorry, like extensive projects in the grade, so you can apply for that and do some volunteer or monitoring work. So interesting, you have some subject on. And um, what are the skills to be a humanitarian pharmacist, and why are these skills necessary?
I would say like a humanitarian pharmacist have to have like a lot of communication skills, a lot of teamwork skills, a lot of maybe engaging skills, because sometimes it's not like a space that is, built up for that, like a community pharmacist that basically the daily work is to get to the pharmacy, see the prescriptions, prepare the prescriptions, um, that are maybe more mechanic in some sort of way. Uh, so you have to have this kind of engaged power, like startup, and maybe more motivation, and that things flow more with the moment, and it's not very like procedural. um and I think just like having good attitude and is like a skill that you have to have. Yes.
Thank you, Pablo, for your answer. And what motivates you to remain active on the subcommittee and then take a position in regional working group?
um well, for me, I think that being in the humanitarian subcommittee opened me to see like how IPSF could work, and I think the importance of IPSF in the community, um, the students community, pharmacy. So that is something that I will treasure forever, and I think that I highly motivate everyone to join IPSF right away. In the position that you like, you don't have to go like to be like the humanitarian pharmacist. You can choose whatever you want. We have a lot of spaces for everyone.
Yes, yes, I agree with you. And now about your new position, could you tell us what is like and why you should apply for it?
The actual position now, like the secretary position, what it's like? I would say that
Yes.
the secretary position is a very interesting one. I wasn't fully aware of what are the activities of the secretary duties. Um, I think that is a very interesting position. It has a lot of the secretary has a lot of responsibility. Um, but I would say that in general it's more like technical than doing activities. It's more like a professional thing. I would say something like that, more kind of plain vibe. But I think that is also very important and very interesting, to get fully broad of all of what IPSF does.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And do you have any tips about your?
If I have tips on the human of the journey, you said?
Yes, of about your junior in humanitarian and secretary.
Yeah, I would say like life doesn't comes with maybe like this kind of a strategy. um Maybe just relax and try to help in any given position, inside or outside IPSF. um you don't have to have like this master plan of I need to apply to just this job and then to this other job and then to this other, and so I can get to this other job. Maybe just like relax and enjoy your moment and try to give the best in every like at every second and in every position. So yes, to maybe like take life less seriously, something like that.
Yeah, I think don't forget to apply in this next Monday, guys. So it's really important and it's really grateful too.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we don't have more questions. Thank you so much for your interview, Pablo. And could you please give some contact to our participants, please? Because if someone have one question, like questions after the event, it will be important.
Yes, I think that you can search, maybe I can write or should I say it like out loud, my email?
Yeah, you can say your email, please.
Okay, my email is Pablo, like Pablo, and then there is 1998-2206. That is my personal email, and then just gmail.com. Mhm.
Thank you so much, Pablo.
You're welcome,
And
Gabriele.
thank you. And I would like to everyone for attending and our speak for the great presentation. And I will now turn the floor back over to our speaker for closing remarks.
Well, I just want to, I'm very thankful for this opportunity to share with all of you like my little knowledge of the humanitarian field, and I encourage everyone to apply for the position. I think that is a very good position to start up to see if you like the humanitarian field or not. And it's a very like a very I personally I would say that is the best portfolio of IDSF. Um, but it's a very good place to start. So maybe you apply and then fall in love with the humanitarian field. So um, I encourage everyone, and thank you, Gabriele, again for this opportunity, and to everybody that is listening.
Thank you so much, Pablo. And the attendance link has already been sent through the chat. So if you have any other question, you can contact Pablo or me in the RPO email. And thank you very much for your words in the presentation. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.